Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another vintage tips and tricks video. Today I'm going to do the first in my series of authentic setting techniques for 1940s and 50s hairstyles, and that is how to tease. I think a lot of people really struggle with this. I know people mention that they're struggling with victory rolls and with getting enough volume for their hair, or if you're like me and you've got really thin individual strands but a lot of hair, it tends to really sit close to my scalp, and that's not really what I'm looking for. So today I want to talk you through how to get a good tease and how to make it hold. So without further ado, let's get into this. So I've started with a basic hot roller set. You can pin curl, you can start with no curl at all, whatever it is that you want to do. We're just working on the tease, and this can be applied to any hairstyle that requires teasing. So I've just gone for this today because at the end of it I'm going to show you how to do kind of a curly late 40s hairdo with that curl along the shoulder and around the back. So I've taken my hair out of curlers and I have just run my fingers through it at this stage. I do have a little bit of hairspray, my Di Lorenzo hairspray mixed with water as my setting lotion, and I did put a little bit of heat protectant spray in before I put my hot rollers in, so that should help my curl hold a little bit, but at this point I don't have any other product in my hair. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tease this front section of my hair to get volume through here and some volume through here, but because I'm going to go for a late 40s hairdo, I'm not going to bother putting volume in the back because that wasn't really a thing at that time. It was more the 50s that they started putting volume throughout the hair. I am going to put volume in the curls at the bottom to get a bit more of a foof going on, but you will see that as it comes up. So let's start with this front section. It is the second day after a wash. My hair gets greasy quite quickly, being very thick. I get very hot and then it gets greasy. So it should hold the tease quite well. But I do tease on clean hair as well, and I find that my techniques seem to work for that. In fact, I actually prefer to do these kinds of hairstyles on clean hair than dirty hair, which I know is not the common preference, but that's just me. I'm going to separate the hair off just at the point where the hair starts going backwards as part of my kind of natural hairstyle. So basically where it starts at the crown of my head. And I'm going to section it down and behind my ear like so. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to match it up starting at about the same point and go behind my ear on this side as well. And without ruining my curls too much, I'm going to pin it back. So one of the first tips I can give you is to get the right tool. Now the tool is either a teasing comb or a teasing brush. I prefer a teasing brush because I have thin hair, it's very slippery, and I've never dyed it, so it does like to lose tease. So I use a brush because the bristles are designed to make it more teased and make it easier for you. And the end is really handy for separating. This is very important. When you separate your hair, don't put too big of sections when you're teasing, because otherwise you'll end up with a patch in the middle that's really teased, like a big knot, and then the outside section's not teased, and then everything will kind of fall flat, and then you'll just have a bump in your hair and it will look really bad. So you want to tease really evenly. So I am going to separate this way. Even though I set my hair this way, I'm going to tease this way, and I'm going to start at the back. So let's separate that section off. It's going to take this bit here. You can see it is not particularly deep. I'm going to brush up about halfway. I don't want to brush my curl out, so I'm going to stop there. Then what you want to do is only brush in a downwards motion. If you brush back up again, you're just going to brush your tease out. So even though people are doing it quickly, they're not doing this. They're going down, down, down. And you want to tease to about the halfway point. I've got long hair, so I'm going to tease quite a long way. If you've got shorter hair, tease half of that length. You don't want to tease through your curl. We will be doing that at the end, but for volume through here, don't tease through the ends of your hair, just halfway. And it will build up. Get those bristles all the way through the hair. Yeah? And whoops, don't catch your curl. Push down. You don't have to yank through the hair. It's quite a light motion, okay? It's going to happen pretty organically, all right? You can see already it's standing up on end. But I haven't created a giant knot, I have created a bunch of frizziness in there. That is the key. Keep doing it until you get about halfway up the hair, and voila, let's move to the next section. I'm not doing the side bit yet, I will work on this bit in a second, I'm just worrying about the top. Make sure you get in at the roots. 2 techniques, see what works for you. If you have thick hair and you find your tease just gets caught and stuck here, start at the bottom first. yeah? And then build up through your hair. Then your tease is going to stand up a bit better. So start at the root, work your way up if you struggle to get the tease right down to your roots. That's probably the better way to do it, and I think that's how most people do it. I can just get away with it because I've got slippery hair that likes to push right down to the roots. So try out a couple of things. Again, start at the root. Don't hold your hair too tightly here because you've got to let the strands pull out and come down. So if you're holding onto it, they've got nowhere to go and you're just going to break your hair. So loosely place it in your hand, just enough so that you can control it, and start at the root and work to that halfway point, yeah? Some people wouldn't do this front section because that's going to be your finish, but I'm actually going to do my style this way, and I will be gently combing out the tease on this side. But if you want to, you can separate a piece of hair off here, particularly if you've got coarse hair and you find it doesn't kind of come out of its tease when you coax it. Separate that little bit that's going to be over the top off and don't tease it. You can see I've got plenty of volume here now. I'm just going to work on these little bits on the side, and because I want to incorporate it into this section of hair, I'm going to tease from the back here, right? Again, starting at the root, don't hold on too tight with this hand. And now another little trick that you can use is to put hairspray in before you brush through your hair or before you apply the tease, yeah? Spray the section and then work your way through. Yeah, give you plenty of stickiness. As I didn't do that through the other section, I'm going to apply some hairspray now through these bits to help it hold. You can see I got plenty of volume through there. It is going to look like a rat's nest, but as you can see, my curls are still intact and pretty. Tip it back over this way and you'll see I ain't got no gaps going on in there. It's all nicely incorporated. Now, how to incorporate and comb it all together. The main thing is don't take a big brush and comb through your tease. You're just going to brush it all out. You want something like this. These are also referred to as a finishing brush because they're really good at smoothing out your flyaways if you put a little product on them. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to spray it with my hairspray and I'm going to go in here. Gently comb the outside. You don't want to lose that tease. Smooth her over ever so carefully. And yes, I do comb through this section here, just like I would a brush out. You can always coax those curls back in again. Something I like to use at this point is my trusty pomade. It helps shape the section and make the outside look nice and smooth without brushing out your tease. This was very popular and true to the era, and I highly recommend getting hold of some pomade. How much pomade do you need? Not very much. So, I don't know if you can even see, but I have a tiny little bit on my finger, like I just wiped my finger gently through it. That's all I'm gonna use. Then, here's the next part. Don't piece it through with that one finger. Rub it over all of your fingers. Grab your section and use your fingers to just smooth the outside of it and work it through. And immediately your flyaways will come into your hairstyle, all right? Like so. Makes a big, big difference. And you can, again, gently use your finishing brush to smooth it over. At this point, I like to lift up a bit through the front and spray again. Then I like to use my duck-billed clips. So if you don't want this front section moving, pin it into place. Then your volume will stay in your hair while you coax it to do other things. But coax, don't force. If it doesn't want to stay there, then go with whatever your hair wants to do. It's always so much easier to do that. See, my hair naturally wants to dent in here, so I'm gonna go with that. And my last one is in the back of my hair, so I'm going to take that out for now. And I like to create a little curl at the bottom because I think it looks pretty. Give it a second to set. Now I take these out first so that my hair isn't pulled down by these two clips. And then you can tidy ever so slightly with your brush. I like to put the brush into the front section and lift up. I find it holds well for me. It may or may not hold well for you, so give it a go. If it doesn't work, don't do it again. And if you find you lose a bit of volume, get the tip of your brush, head on in there, and lift it up. I'm not going to worry about teasing through this section here because I don't want it to be big, but I am going to tease through the curl at the back because as you can see it's already losing volume. The way to do that, get your comb, come underneath your curl and do exactly what you did before. Brush under a little bit and then back comb. Start where you want the tease to end and work your way down. You can see already it's starting to mix my curl together. And then we will style the outside of the hair. Woof, look at that volume. I don't want to touch this one because I styled that one and I will incorporate at the end. So brush a little bit underneath. Don't brush right through your hair. I'm just, like when I'm finishing here, I'm just working on those under layers and then start teasing where you want that volume to finish up here. So always tease from underneath because the hair on the outside will be the least teased and then you can coax it into a style that looks nice. Don't forget this back section. It's a little bit harder on yourself obviously. Flip all your hair over your shoulder, get in under here and tease. You can see the tease is quite gentle. It's about encouraging small amounts of hair up rather than making a big knot in one spot, yeah? So do little sections, this. And if little pieces fall out, then do the little individual pieces by themselves. You can always push them back in and use hairspray to work it into your do. Then I come back this way because obviously you're going to have a section in here that's not been done, and do the same. You can see when I put it back over my shoulder how much volume I'm getting. Now, I come in and smooth these top sections to the start of where my tease is, alright? You don't want to smooth any further or you're going to lose everything, all the work that you've done. Now at this point, if I'm going to pin this section back, I do it now because then I can work with this section. It's also going to pull the tease that was here up and behind my ear, which I quite like. I like that tease to be kind of bulky here. Now I have a couple of flyaways here, so again, I'm going to spray my brush while it's wet still. Get those flyaways just here, my baby hairs, and incorporate. Same with the ones by my ear there. But again, remove the brush at the point where you want the flatness to your scalp to end. Don't keep brushing through or catch the hair because you will pull little loose bits out that you don't want. Now, let's make sure that this tease stays. It stays quite easily for me, but you might want to spray as you go with your teasing as well to try and make sure it stays in place more easily. The other thing you'll find, it'll look like a rat nest, and then when you spray it with some hairspray, it actually goes back to looking like curls again. The wetness kind of helps give it a bit more definition. So don't freak out if you look like you've got a rat's nest at that point. And obviously you largely want to spray underneath and into the ends of the hair. Lift up and get that hairspray into that bird's nest. The other thing is if you're spraying and doing this, it's going to help keep the volume there. You can see that I've just lost this much hair because it's gone up and into my volume. Smoothing this stuff down. I smooth to the point at which I'm going to put my duckbill clips in. Obviously I can't see the back of my hair and you're probably going to have the same problem. So just feel with your hand. Okay, where the dent of the base of your skull comes in, that's where you want your tease to end and where you're going to put your duckbill clips across the back here. Now I like to leave a little piece free here to style. You can put a duckbill clip in there and I know a lot of people do it that way, but I prefer to keep it free so I have a little bit of curve around my ear. I think it looks prettier. Then we're going to style this section. Pomade, a girl's best friend. Again, lightly brush over the front sections. You won't lose your tease on the inside. You'll just coax those outer bits into looking a lot smoother. And then, as usual, brush them around a hand or a finger to create a pin curl or a roll. Because I'm dealing with the ends, I brush through, okay? Because that's the bit that's going to have a little bit of curl to it, being the bit that was closest in my roller. So that's the bit that's going to tuck under the easiest. But when you get up here, try to be gentle and not comb your tease out. So you're just touching the outsides, and then when you get to the end, then you can brush through those ends. It is hard doing this on yourself, but using the duckbill clips will make it a little bit easier to avoid straightening everything out. You'll get that kink in and out. You can see once you brush the ends, they end up being the focus and they end up being really shiny and nice. I'm not necessarily brushing everything under to be a page boy. I haven't set it to be a page boy, so it's probably not going to turn out that way. And so I'm not going to try and force my hair to do something it's not likely to do today. Okay, once you get to that point, I'm going to take the duckbill clips out very, very carefully. And that is the finished look. So the front, I'm going to flip that over so I get my little curl happening, and all the way around to the back. There you go. So that is how I do my hair. You do see this look in my cover photo for YouTube, and I use it as a lot of my promotional pictures, how I get that curly ass wave at the front and then those curls, kind of loose big ringlets at the back. It's all in the tease, guys. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, click that little notification bell so you know when my videos come out, and come and join our Vintage Tips and Tricks Facebook group. We have over 700 members now. It has grown in just a couple of weeks that it's been going, and I've learned a bunch of stuff. Like, people have been sharing things like sock curling, which was something that I didn't know about, but now I know about that. And there's a lot of vintage enthusiasts who love creating their own outfits, as in sewing and designing them, which is really cool and is not my forte. So by joining the group, you can learn a lot from each other as well, and not just from me. I mean, YouTube is my space to share what I know, but the Vintage Tips and Tricks group is great for you guys to share your knowledge and just be a little collective of like-minded people sharing everything they know. So come and see us over there. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I just love having engagement with you guys. That's my favorite part of social media and of YouTube, so I'm always happy to chat with you on any platform. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.
And I've been down my whole life loving you. Life could be a dream, sweetheart.